What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another video. This is part 4 of our How to Build a Website from Absolute Scratch series. In this video, we are going to be going over setting up the environment so that way when you are building out your website, you'll be able to see all of the different files in your website and access them very easily and be able to build them extremely easily. So what you want to do for this is you want to go to code.visualstudio.com. I will leave a link in the description for this. It is the free version of Visual Studio, and it is very, very good. It is a text editor and probably one of, if not the best text editors out there. So go to code.visualstudio.com. I'll leave a link in the description. When you get to this page, up here, there's going to be this download button in the top right, and click that download button. There's going to be a download for each different type of operating system that you have. I have a Windows operating system. Some people may be using Mac, so make sure to download the one that your operating system is. I know in the series we've been using an Ubuntu operating system on a Linux distribution, so don't worry about that here, any of the Linux distributions, if that is not what your system is. We need to do what your system is because this is something for your computer. So my computer is a Windows, so I'm going to hit the download button there. It's going to say thank you for downloading VS Code, and then up here it's going to start the download for Visual Studio Code. Once this is done downloading, click on this and it will start your install. I already have this installed, so I'm not going to go over the install process for you guys. But it's really simple. Just follow the steps. Make sure to accept the agreements. There's going to be one page on the install that is going to be very valuable. I'm going to put that page up here on the screen here. And that is where you're going to have a bunch of checkboxes, 5 in total. One of them is to add a desktop icon. Up to you if you guys want to add a desktop icon. But the next 4, make sure to check those boxes for the next 4, especially the open with code options. And what the open with code options is going to do is that's going to, for example, I made a text file just for an example of this. And if I click it to highlight this text file and then I right click it, it's going to give me an option to open with code. And this is going to open Visual Studio Code on that specific file that I want to look at. So I can just open whatever file that I want, whenever I want, and it will open it with VS Code. And so I can just keep putting whatever I want in here and then hit Control S, and it's going to save. And when I click the X on this, it's going to update into that file. So, you know, if I right click again, open with code, it's all up there again. So that way, whenever we need to access or add anything to files, it's super, super easy. The next thing we want to do is we want to download FileZilla. This is a free application that will allow you to view your files much more easy than it would be to do it in the command line like we were doing before to navigate around. You can do it in the command line, but it's not going to be as nice to look at as something like FileZilla, which is a free app that allows you to connect to a server, and you also can see your own file system with it too. So download the client that you need for your system. I'll leave a link in the description for where this page is. Make sure to get the one for your specific operating system. For example, I would have a Windows 64-bit. There's also an option for Windows 32-bit. There's a Mac OS Intel. That's the type of processor you have on Mac OS, or an Apple Silicon Mac OS. Linux 64-bit or Linux 32-bit. I would have a Windows 64-bit, so start that download, install it. Once it's installed, I already have it installed, it's right here. Once it's installed, open it up, and then you are going to come to this page. Let me delete this as I was working on doing a few more recordings. My mic wasn't working, but once you get here, go up to the very top here where right underneath File and click this button. Click the button, not the drop down, click the button and it will pop up the Site Manager. Once you're here on the Site Manager, click on New Sites. We can name it whatever we want. So YouTube video. And then let's come over here to Host. And in Host, we need to grab that IP address that we had for our droplet. Paste that IP address in there. And then in the port, we're going to write in port 22 because this is the Secure File Transfer Protocol port. And Secure File Transfer Protocol is a much more secure version of File Transfer Protocol. So right now it's the protocol selected to File Transfer Protocol. That is not as secure as Secure File Transfer Protocol, SFTP. which this is FTP, just File Transfer Protocol. Other people could potentially steal your files that you are sending to the server. We don't want that. So let's switch this protocol to SFTP, SSH File Transfer Protocol. And if you remember in our firewall section, we already unblocked port 22, so we can use it. For our logon type, we are going to select key file. Remember, we have that key file just how we logged into our server before. We have that key file in the SSH. So we're going to select key file, and it's going to do that same authentication where you have a public and a private key that, for example, the public key is stored on the server, and then it links up to our private key that we have on our system. So we're going to type in the user. The only user we have created is root, so make sure you have lowercase root here in the user. And then for the key file, we're going to hit this button that says browse. So if I just go through and show you from this PC, you go into your local disk C, you go into your users, you go into your folder, and then there's that .ssh folder if you saved it in the default file location. So click into the .ssh folder, and then make sure to change this ppk files only to all files. And then this is going to show you all the files that are in your .ssh folder. And again, this is going to be a Windows tutorial because I don't have a Mac. So we have our public key that we put on the server, and then we have our private key that we put on the server as well. We want the private key. This public key is on the server right now, and it links up to this private key. So double click on that one, and it's going to put that file path in there with your private key. So once we have our private key selected, it's going to verify that, hey, our private key is good to go. So once we hit connect, it'll connect us to the server, and it's going to populate over here. So let's hit connect, and it's going to give you a pop-up. I already did this, but it's going to give you a pop-up being like, hey, do you trust this from this IP address? Yes, we do, because we were the ones that created that server. They're giving you the IP address of your droplet. They're giving you the SSH key that you have. Just make sure you hit OK, because all that stuff is what we actually have up here. We know what we're connecting to. So don't worry about that. Click OK, and it will connect you to your server. So, and then you'll see some stuff up here, like different logs of what you're connecting to your server, all this stuff. So you got the console up here. Over here on this side, you're going to have the server files. So all of the server files are over here. On this side, you're going to have all of your local system files, and you can send over files just like that. So like I could just go here, click and drag, and boom, now this is over here. I obviously don't want this here in this directory, so I'm going to delete this. But this is how you can go and view all of your different server files, and it's going to really help us when we are building out our website. All right, the next thing we want to do is we want to link up VS Code with our FileZilla. So that way, whenever we need to look at a lot of different files, obviously there's a lot of different file types in here. You can see they're not just regular files. You wouldn't be able to really access a lot of these or access them in a efficient manner without linking up a good text editor like VS Code. So we're going to link that up, so whenever we go and look at any of these files, we'll be able to pop them up in VS Code and make our changes and save them right to the server. Going to be very easy, very nice, very efficient. All right, so how to do this is we are going to go up to Edit, and then we're going to go to Settings. Once we get the Settings window popped up, we're going to go to File Editing. So click on File Editing right here, and then make sure to use a custom editor, and then we'll have to put in the path to the custom editor. Also select these if you want to stay consistent with me. Always use default editor. I'd probably select this one as well. Feel free to check that if you want. We're going to figure out where our custom editor is. I already have mine linked up, but we're going to figure out where that is. So if you go to your search bar and you type in VS Code, all right, now you see this little match here, VS Code. We're going to right click this, and we're going to open file location. So once we open the file location, it's going to bring us the shortcut. This is a shortcut. This isn't actually the file that runs. This is the shortcut to open VS Code. So we're going to right click this. Once we have it right clicked, we are going to then scroll down, and we're going to open the file location of the shortcut. Once we open this file location, this is our actual file that is running. So what we can do is we can click up here, and we'll see the exact path of what this is. It's going to highlight it. So let's do a Control C, and then let's go over to our FileZilla and make sure everything you put in here is in quotation marks. So that way we have, quotation marks to start and we'll have quotation marks to end. So we're gonna put this in here. We're gonna paste this in. We're gonna add another slash, and then we are going to then go back here to what the file is named. So this file is named code.exe. So this is what we want to run. So in here, we're going to type in code.exe. Now we have the correct file to be associated with it. So let's hit OK here now that we have that selected. And now, for example, if I wanted to right click one of these files on the server, so again, this is the server side. If I right click it, let me right click something that maybe doesn't have too much, this cloud local test skip. If I go and hit view/edit, this should now pop up Visual Studio Code. So if I do view/edit, it's going to do a bunch of stuff over here. And then we've got Visual Studio Code popped up with whatever is in there. See, it's named this way. It didn't have anything in there, so it's not going to show. But when we go and look at other files, you'll see stuff that are going to be in there. So now I could literally type stuff in here, and I can Control S. I don't want to save things in this file because I don't want it to potentially impact the server in any negative way, because I haven't used this file specifically. But I could save it, and once I save it, I'll get a prompt up here like, hey, do you want to upload this to the server? And then click OK, and then it will upload all that stuff you just changed to the server. Very nice and easy. So once you get that set up, we are good to go, and we are ready to start working on our website. All right, let me show you how to navigate around your server here. So now that we can see all of our files, you'll notice that we're in the /root directory. You can also see the file path right here. So we have folders in here. We can go inside of these folders. If we click in here, we can see our keys. If we click this .. folder, this means that we're going up one level. So for example, we'll go up to the / directory. So we're in /root. So if I click this, now we're just in the / directory. This is the base of the entire server now. So anytime you see this .. which is at the very top, this just means go back out of it. So for example, if I go into, like dev here, and then I click this, I'm going right back out of it, and I'm outside of dev. So I was inside of dev here, and then clicking this, I'm outside of dev. All right, so where we want to go to see the website, what is actually up there on the website. So if we go all the way down to var, our var directory, double click that, and we're going to go into the var directory. Now that we're here, we've got a bunch more here. We want to go to www. When we click www, here is the folder for our site, HTML. So if we double click HTML, here is our index page, our index HTML page. And this is our file that is just our default document when we go to our site. So if I go in, pull up a web browser here, and I do woody79.com, and there we go. It pulls up our sites, and this is our site that we have up there on our index page. Now, for example, just so you guys can see this in action, we do already have this file here. We don't need it. So let's delete this file. So now if I try to, now that it's deleted, if I try to refresh this, it's going to say, hey, we have nothing here. This is the index of whatever, server at woody79, port 80. I mean, it's running. We have nothing there to show for it. So let's create a new file. So right click this empty space and create a new file. And again, we need to make this index.html because this is what's actually going to show when we access woody79.com. It's going to show your index first. This is the, you can navigate to other pages, but this is the start one. You need to make sure it's lowercase index.html. This is the start file. So now we're going to right click this file and we're going to hit view/edit. So in here, I'm just going to type in, so we still have that other one. Let me just put an X on that. Don't save that. Just get an X on that. So now we have index.html. So now we're actually going to go in and start building our website or index page. So let's just, to show you guys that this works, let's just put something here. So let's put in, hi, how are ya? All right, now notice in Visual Studio Code, we have this dot here. It's a dot and not an X. Until you highlight over it, it's an X. But what this dot means is this is not saved. So do a Control S and that turns into an X. So that's how you know it is saved. So now that we have it saved, let's go back to FileZilla and you're gonna say, hey, a file has been, like a pop-up will come up. Hey, a file has previously been changed, index.html and our SFTP root in our remote path of our HTML file. So go ahead and click yes on this. It's gonna update it into there. So now we have a file up on the server and it's got some information in it. So, you know, if I refresh, you're going to see file size 14. We've got 14 bits on this file. If we go back to our index of page, if we refresh, there we go. We've got hi, how are you up there? Just like that. We made the page. This is what we're displaying. This is how it works, and using VS Code to do whatever we want with it. We still have the file open here in VS Code, so I can, you know, say like, good, how are you? And whatever spelling, it doesn't really matter how I spell it. But now again, we need to save it. So Control S, save it. And then we are going to then, you know, get this pop up again. Yes, we want to edit it. Okay, cool. It's going to upload the new edits. 32 bits up in there, and then if we go back here, boom, hi, how are you? Good, how are you? There it is. So this is how the server environment works and how you're going to build out your website a lot easier. All right, this is going to wrap up part 4 and my pre-recorded section of the start of this series. I really wanted to make sure we get this server up and running, and you guys can now go in and edit your website after doing all the specific server related stuff and setting up your environment to be very successful when you are creating your own website from complete scratch. In the next video, we're going to be going over, if we go back here, you know, we've got our domain running, we've got stuff that we can put on the site itself and display to the entire world. But you know, we've got this not secure thing here, and people that go to access our site is going to get some warning message. Hey, are you sure you want to go there? That's kind of risky to go there. We're going to fix that in the next video, as well as we are going to go over a bunch more things to put into your website in HTML and CSS to start building out this website and making it something that you guys will find a very informative, learn a lot about HTML, CSS, and get you guys a really nice site that you can then just build and expand on and get better and better with, and it's going to be great. So thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to comment, like, subscribe. Let me know anything you want to know, because this is no longer the pre-recorded stuff after this video, as anything you guys want to see, I'll be able to read your comments and be able to start doing that in my next video. So without further ado, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.
Woody 7-9, from the ring to the repo, took a real beast with a face-off ego. Whether you code, score, drop a sick line, it all goes down on Woody 2nd 9.